We have the legendary Lemi Ghariokwu here, the arts director of Fela. So, yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on the show once again.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, I mean, the first question I would like to start off with, could you first of all speak to us about your childhood in Nigeria?
Okay. Yes, I was born, like I love to say, I was born, bred, and buttered in Lagos, Nigeria. So I'm comfortable in my own climate.
Yeah.
So I made that choice from the universe before I came up on earth. So this is my constituency. Because I was born with it, I was born into it. That's actually my primary assignment on
Yeah.
this mission. It's the tool that I've been equipped with from the universe, so to play my own role. So that's the thing. First encounter was, if I remember clearly, I think 1971 or 1972.
Yeah.
But I was in an audience
Yeah.
watching him perform. Yeah, and I was really, amazed. I was actually awestruck, from that experience.
Yeah.
Little did I know that in a couple of years, our destiny was going to cross. I use one word: predestination.
Conscious about my race. I've always had race pride. And that takes me way back to when I was 11 years old. Millicent Small came to
my boy
Nigeria.
Lollipop.
Yeah, my boy Lollipop. I love Sweet Williams. If I have wings like a dove, all those songs, I knew them when I was 11. Small, she was brought to Nigeria on a promotional tour by Cadbury Nigeria, the makers of Bournvita in Nigeria. So when I saw her, actually my aunt took me to where I was able to see her anyway. And I said in Yoruba language, like, who? In your Dudunisha? That, wow, so she's a black person. Because when we listen on radio those days, we had this contraption called rediffusion in the 60s. So they play all those hit tunes. Millicent Small was played every day in Nigeria that time. Yeah. I thought, because, she sounded British, and her name, you see the issue we have as Africans, because we lost our identity. From her name, I couldn't locate that she was,
black
African descendant. So when I saw her physically, I always thought she was a white person, a white lady, listening to her on radio. So I was 11 years old. So that's how conscious I had been. Then in 1969, when Miriam Makeba was in exile in the US, she did an interview on black and white TV. Those days, television was black and white.
Yeah.
I saw Miriam Makeba's interview where she was talking about the situation of African people, black people everywhere. So I was so moved by that interview also. In 1972, when the information minister of the Black Panther movement, George Jackson, was killed in San Quentin prison in Los Angeles, I knew. I read about it in Drum magazine, and I cried, and I made a drawing in pencil, near perfect drawing of him from a black and white picture in the Drum magazine. And I cried, and I felt the pain, of my race. So I was prepared long time. And it was around 1972 that I first saw Fela perform physically. And he was singing this particular song called Fight to Finish. And in the song, he was saying, I need an axe, that, I want to fight the colonialists, something like that in Yoruba, and I really felt it. I took it to heart. So by 1974, when I met Fela, when we sat down, started talking, Fela was so amazed about the kind of knowledge I already have about race consciousness. Yeah. So that's why Fela used a lot of artists. He loved art a lot, so he had used a lot of graphic artists and so on. But they just had like a professional relationship, just business. But because I share ideology with Fela, So I share the Pan-African ideology with him 105%. So I virtually took over designing every other cover, because I could relate to what he was saying, and I was able to, transfer his thoughts and the music visually on my cover art. So that's why I had the opportunity to do eventually like half of his entire catalog. Because that period was his most productive period. He was releasing like 4 albums a year. 1 year, 4 albums, even more. So I was designing them. Yeah.
Well, can you share your untold, fascinating stories about the legend?
Yeah. Fela was a very complex human being.
Yeah.
They call him Abamieda in Yoruba, which is like the weird one. He was like five lives rolled into one. He was an egalitarian. He was a multi-genius. He was a rebel, iconoclast, humanizer. He humanized women. Quite a complex character, and he never suffered fools gladly. Fela never suffered fools gladly. So it can be very difficult as a person, but I had the opportunity to rub him the right way, because one thing he also has in abundance is that wisdom to recognize a great talent. He has that. So he was able to attract a lot of young people who could contribute towards what he was building. So the fact that I brought a lot to the table, from my own perspective, from my own sitting position, made him show me so much respect. It was like he treated me like his child, like his son. I was his youngest advisor at that point in time. I was also a comrade in arms. You get, because revolutionary, rebel spirit, warrior spirit. But that's the difference we have. I'm not a revolutionary. But I love the revolutionary spirit. All my heroes are revolutionaries. They are die-hard warrior spirits. Peter Tosh, Malcolm X, Fela Kuti, Stephen Biko. I love their spirit, but I'm not a revolutionary. I'm an evolutionary. Things will evolve eventually, and we can see it every day in life. The revolutionaries bring a lot to the table. They are catalysts for change, but sometimes they are too much in a hurry. That's the way I feel. They want it today. But life doesn't go that way, so it takes a lot of time. When something is bad, to rebuild takes a long time. Africa has been colonized, gone through all this shit for 500 odd years. So it's not going to take 10 minutes to get mentally liberated. So it's a process. And to situate with the way I reason, Fela happened like 50 years, 40 years ago. People in Nigeria have not caught up yet. That consciousness and commitment, for Pan-African thinking and Pan-African way of life. A lot of people they've not caught up yet. They've not caught up that aspect of what Fela lived for. So that's why people like us, the evolutionaries, we work and continue working assiduously. You understand? That's the way you can effect the change eventually. Mental liberation is not an easy thing. Colonial mentality is a very hard disease to cure. It's worse than cancer in the brain of Africans. Africans have been so miseducated, misdirected, like lost sheep.
We would die for lack of knowledge, from a lack of knowledge. You go to school, they teach you ignorance is bliss. Can you imagine? Ignorance is bliss, and people take it to heart. So ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is emptiness. Ignorance is poverty. So how soon enough can we make our people aware? If you see what's going on right now, if the borders were like to be thrown open
that you don't need visas. I'm telling you, 75% of Nigerians will run away to Canada, UK, America. Yeah, just wants to run out. I don't see a serious race of people, human beings, that will be running away from their problems. Fela talked about that way ahead. He called a movement, his movement against second slavery. That Africans should beware so they don't get, to be coerced and bamboozled to volunteer for slavery. Now, the average Nigerian who will tell you the country is so difficult, we gather money, sell properties to raise up to 6 million naira to go get visa to go to Canada or go to America or UK or anywhere, or I don't know where. You get it's deep. So it's this is deep. Consciousness is deep. So to build it up, it will take concerted effort. So but I'm doing mine in my own little corner. Fela left. Fela is an ancestor now. So before I go join him, I'll do mine. So he showed me the way more. So I'm following those footsteps. That's why I will live and die in Nigeria. I would never relocate and go and live in Babylon. I travel, I come back. I go, I come back. Because we have to build our home. Marcus Garvey said, a tree without a people without the knowledge of their past history, it's like a tree without roots. We are the only race that has allowed ourselves to be vilified, downtrodden, misdirected, abused over and over again. Everywhere the so-called black person goes in the world, doesn't get respect. How are we going to get respect when we go and live like fourth-class citizens in other people's places and help them to build up their society all over again? People who colonized us, people who held us down for 500 years, we are now volunteering to go help them build their economy all over again. When people like Peter Tosh were talking, people were not listening. They were not listening. I relate Peter Tosh and Fela Kuti in the same yard. Both are the same kind of spirit, warrior spirits. When I had reasoning with Peter in Lagos, he showed me his back. You see the beatings from police, his skull, he showed me the skull. When you see Fela also, Fela will show you his back, his bum, his skull. So it's not joke business. But I say I'm not in a struggle because words are powerful. Babylon has gone 1,000 steps ahead with words that deconstruct our mind. So you hear the revolutionary, the struggle continues. No, I'm not in a struggle. No more. I'm on a mission. So the mission must go on. No bumble-clad struggle continue. Then look at America. Look at our cousins, our brothers and sisters in America calling themselves niggers. What bumble-clad is that? Which race? Will Chinese people call themselves chinko? No. Will they call their women hoes and bitches? It's only our race that does those retrogressive things. So it's a shame. So I'm here. I'll do my own little corner. I'm not a cloud chaser. I don't shout, but I'm working with young people. This social media is a good tool for me. I feel very privileged to be alive in these times. So I'm very current on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Every day I repost like some days I could repost 10 items from TikTok because consciousness is brewing, and we have to grab onto this. In the 60s, you remember the movement. Babylon no soft, Babylon no easy. No easy at all. They got PhD in evil. So they are always way ahead. So all that 60s, 70s, 80s, all that revolutionary zeal, that consciousness zeal now died down. 90s, 2000, everything watered down. Slackness. Till now. All the musical videos you see how, the shaking bomb, shake bomb, twerk, and then call bitches, hoes, nigger. Can you imagine? Yeah, so the awakening is back. I see a lot of content creators on TikTok, young people, and I'm so excited. So I just repost. There's a movement against the bumbleclad Christianity that's held us down for 400, 500 years. Yeah, there are a lot of young people, millennials, deconstructing Christianity.
This is what we call medical apartheid. So
yes, serious. So Babylon not soft. Babylon is not soft. So we need to really focus, to get ourselves out of this quagmire. So my art is conscious, and being a self-taught artist, I'm able to navigate, because society, the system is terrible. They have this matrix. They want to put everyone in a box. No, I'm not in the matrix. I construct outside the system's box, so I can't be pegged down. I'm too conscious to be put in a hole. So I'm not in the matrix. I live my life quietly. Those who know me know where I stand. I don't get carried away with all the fantasies and illusions of Western civilization or mis-civilization, because we need to cherish who we are. We need to build our own culture and tradition and be proud of it, our religion. We are the only race who worship other people's God. Chinese worship their own God. The Indians do. So they liberate themselves. We are worshiping bumbleclad Jesus, bumbleclad Muhammad, or anything. So all we make money in Africa.
Colonial mentality.
You make 10 pounds in Africa, you spend £9.99 abroad. People steal money, they take it abroad. Everybody want to send their children to school abroad, and the children lose identity. You send your children to America to study. At the end of the day, the child imbibes American culture. The child is neither here nor there. So we keep eroding the little progress we are supposed to make for ourselves. So we are too confused. And Fela had mentioned it once before. He said, Africans are amongst the most confused people on earth. It's very embarrassing. It's very embarrassing. We can't give up. You remember Peter Tosh's song, Never Gonna Give Up? Yeah, I'll be fighting until Africa and Africans are free. So beyond this lifetime, because I know about reincarnation. So the mission must go on. It's not a struggle. No struggle must continue. You have to get off that struggle continue mentality, because that's a negative. That's dragging us back mentally as a people. Everything in my life is destiny. It's preordained. I got to know about Peter Tosh in 1973, 72, 73. I still have my copy of the original Wailers album, that Catch a Fire. So in that album, the two songs I love most in that album is 400 Years and Stop That Train. I told you I've always had my consciousness since I was a child. When I had that song for the first time, 400 years, same. But today, Africans don't know how this world is being run by Babylon. Africans don't have a clue. And that's what Peter Tosh was saying in a song he composed like in the 60s. So when I had that song in that Catch a Fire album, wow, it touched my soul. And also the other song, Stop That Train, because philosophically, it's like the kind of conditioning that conscious people go through. When you are conscious, it's like a burden in an ignorant, unconscious society. So sometimes you feel like, stop that train, I'm leaving. All my life I've been a lonely man, teaching people who don't understand. So Peter resonated with me from scratch. And I remember one time in 1974, there was a radio show in Lagos where the presenter played a taping of Peter Tosh's speech when he was on tour of the West Coast in the US. I actually recorded it on cassette. I kept it for so many years, but I lost the cassette now. So that's 1974. Peter was saying, he said that he was touring the West Coast in the US. That most of his shows, it was white people predominantly. And he said, the case of the black man in the US looks like the case of the 80,000 careless Ethiopian, that they shall go down with Babylon. Can you imagine? 1974. And I said, wow. So that's the foundation of everything. So every time Peter, if you remember, Peter used to release 1 album in 2 years. 1 album in 2 years. And when he was interviewed, he said he's not doing his music for commercial reasons, that it's when he has a message. And eventually, I met him in Lagos. Okay, let me just give you a short story, so you know the spiritual link that I have with these people. I had written, Peter came, I didn't know, but a friend of mine came visiting and said, oh, I didn't hear on the radio that Peter Tosh, you know, my icon is in Lagos. I said, wow. So we started trying to trace that. Where can he be? Which hotel can he be staying? You know, we couldn't get him in any hotel around. Eventually, that my safe friend went to Sonny Okoso. I was actually staying in his house, and Sonny Okoso has been my friend since we were teenagers. Even though, you know, he was 8 years older than me. Yeah. So I learned Peter was in Sonny Okoso's house. So I was so happy. Say, oh wow! So I went, and I had a painting, you know, that I took along with me, that I decided I was going to give him as a gift. But the kind of character I am, I got to the place. I left the artwork in my car. I didn't take it with me inside, because I said to myself, I need to source him out to see if he's just writing lyrics or he's doing the liberty of what he's saying. So we sat down and we talked like over 2 hours. Then I said to Peter, I said, you know what? I have an artwork I wanted to give you. I said, it's in the car. I said, me come source you out. I said, yeah, me check you out, and you cool. So I went and brought the artwork, and he was, you know, he was really happy. And I remember one thing he said to me, he said, have no fears. He said, nobody, you know, gave you the breath of life. He said, I see that in the future you will be going, just be going and going your way. You know, you know, he was sounding like a highly spiritual kind of person. We spoke a lot. We spoke at length. We talked about religion, Christianity, because his host, you know, was a Christian who had the blue-eyed Jesus in their living room, and Peter showed me, said, look at it. I said, me, I don't deal with that. I said, me, I don't know. So 3 years later again, when he came back to Nigeria, it was when he got married to Marlene Brown. So you know, he came to do traditional like marriage for Marlene in Nigeria. Yeah, so I met both of them. Again, we had a lot of talk. We talked and talked. But after that talk, that was in 1985, me and my wife actually saw him. We spoke for long, and there are a lot of things I can't say it in public now. We even talked about Bob. We talked about so many things. So, but he talked about, you know, the kind of fights that he gets into and so on. So when me and my wife were leaving, we started saying to ourselves that this man will be killed very soon. 2 years later, 6 months before Peter's death, my wife was in a dream. She had a nightmare. She woke up and she was sweating, my wife then, and she was crying. I said, what happened? She said that she saw Peter, that the house was a duplex, that they carried Peter's body, that it was bloody, blood was all over the place. I'm telling you, like 6 months after that dream, we now had the news that Peter was shot on September 11. Yeah. So it's deep. It's deep. It's very deep. Yeah. So I see his character, you know, he's warrior, total warrior spirit, just like Fela. Very aggressive with discretion, very direct in your face. Exactly like Fela. It's only Fela and Peter that I've seen we be like in a stadium show and lampoon and lambast the government straight and mention names. You remember the peace concert in 1978?
Yes.
You see how Peter went that rant and he smoked? That's what Fela we do in Lagos. So the two of them, you know, some writers will be linking Fela with Bob Marley. I said, no, it's Peter Tosh and Fela that have the same spirit, like the Malcolm X spirit. You understand?
Che Guevara.
Che Guevara, thank you. Yeah. These are ultimate warriors. You know, they came just to direct. You know, like Peter will say, me not talk like water running from my mouth. Like, you know, it's not tongue in cheek. He says it as he feels it. Yeah, so yeah, that's the beauty. So I feel really privileged to have met Peter Tosh and also to know Fela. His destiny, because I'm colleagues with them in spirit. We have the same role. It's this mental liberation of African people, and that's what I hope preach till I die. So fortunately for me, these days I have young people. My demography of friends, 98% of my friends are Gen Z, millennials, and so on. We flow very well. We flow. Look at you, Freddie. Yeah. Look at you. You are not even 20 years old yet. You are an old soul. Yeah. So that's the mission I'm talking about. You know, we have to represent. We have to connect. We have to network, because that's the way we can fight Babylon psychology. You know, it's not about shouting. It's a mental thing now. So we need to organize. We have to be cohesive in whatever we are doing. So we have to teach. The children teach one another. Each one teach one. So that's how we are going to liberate mentally eventually. You get? Yeah. So I love it. I love it. People my generation in Nigeria here, a lot of them are like living dead. They don't know what's going. They can't relate. They can't relate. So I don't waste my time. You know, I can't waste my energy, and I don't quarrel with no one. I respect everybody's sensibility, but I'm committed. I'm principled to my cause. Yeah. Dangerous. Reggae is roots reggae, please, specifically roots reggae is my number one musical form, because it has the combination of spirituality, ideology, consciousness, and that race pride. You understand? So I don't joke. I love them. I love them so much. I love them. I chose Peter above everyone because of the ideology, because of the fight direct. If you remember, Peter rejected the tour of Israel, even though he would have been paid good money. How many artists can do that? You understand?
Yeah.
How many artists can be committed like that? It's only Fela also that I know can do that. Can have that commitment to say, I'm not performing, I'm not taking this show because you people, you understand? You need to correct yourself. So that's the commitment we're talking about. So if I would just pick 5 randomly, because I love a lot of reggae artists, a lot. You know that reggae empire, that reggae kingdom has 1,000 soldiers. Yeah. Everybody has their own way of contributing. Yeah. So I'll choose Peter Tosh album, definitely. I don't know, I love Bush Doctor and I love Equal Rights highly. I love Mama Africa too. I love all Peter Tosh anyway. So let me take Equal Rights, because it's significant. In that song where you talk about African, no matter where you are from, as long as you're a black man, you're an African. I know that tune I played earlier on as intro, that Fela song, Center of the World, is saying the same thing. Fela says Africans in Europe, Africans in America, Africans in the Caribbean, set your mind to Africa. You understand? Because everyone, as long as you're a black person, you're an African. Yeah, I wonder why people should be called blacks. Do they call Indians red Americans? Nah. So they call people black Americans. Nah, it's wrong. they're actually American Africans, you know, American Africans, if they were born there. Yeah, so because that identity crisis is the foundation of our our confusion. You know, people who don't have identity, a clear-cut identity, they find it difficult, you know, to stand anywhere. So our people are floating all over the world without identity. So yeah, Equal Rights album, definitely. Yeah. Bob Marley. I'll take the Survivor album too.
Yeah.
Survivor album. Yeah. Bonnie Wheeler. I take the Black Hat one album. Yeah. Now 2 more. Right? That's dangerous. Lindsey Kwesi Johnson.
Poet. Yeah, poet.
Yes. And between Muta Baruka. I love culture. I love Burning Spear. I love all these brethren, man.
Have you heard of Big Youths?
Yeah, there are too many. Okay, let's take Muta Baruka Protest.
Yeah.
Art definitely has a role to play in any mission. You know, art generally, visual, literary art, or literal art, writing, music, even sport. So I don't believe in art for art's sake. Yeah, but I don't judge anyone. But art is supposed to play a role. Any creative is supposed to contribute, you know, to society philosophically. You understand? The average creative is a philosopher in their own right. So they need to use their craft, you know, to create things. You know, there has to be a balance. There has to be a balance. Because it's not every time, you know, just dance to your own self-destruction, you know. I remember Peter would say, what is boogie down? I said, get up, stand up, you know, no bumbo clap boogie down business. You know, sometimes Africans indulge in too much boogie down.
Asking, do you know what Still Pulse?
I love Still Pulse. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I said, is your question is dangerous. Five. I love Still Pulse, True Democracy album. Okay, maybe I want to choose a couple of them. I'll definitely choose a lot of Fela and especially some Nigerian reggae guys, because you know their own music to of No Nation, Yellow Fever, and Sorrow, Tears and Blood. But there are many. There are a lot of you know, it's tricky. You know, the saying goes that a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So for the illustrator, the trick is that picture that is worth 1,000 words. Now you are presented with words. You could be illustrating a book cover or a book story or lyrics. You know, that's 1,000 words that has been given to you. So your challenge is, which words do you picture? Which words do you make into that picture? You know, that signifies represents that 1,000 words. So I listen to the music definitely, but with Fela, it was a special relationship. I was very close to Fela, so I was present a lot of times when he will be composing those tunes. You know, we could be having a discussion generally about situation of things, or you know, whatever was happening on the social and political level, and you know, he will now have an idea like, oh, I'm going to do a tune about this. So I will be present sometimes. So then when he starts, I see his process. I witness everything from scratch. He scores the music, you know, he starts to arrange the lyrics, you know, he tinkers with it, you know. So I already knew what that particular song is about. And then after he's composed it, he has this way of doing his things. when Fela releases an album to the public, he never performs that song again on stage. Never. So sometimes it upsets his fans. You know, like his fans will want to do like make a request, like play this tune, and he will say, go and buy the record. Because most of those songs were like biographical for him. They are telling the story of what just happened to him or what's happening in society at that point in time. So sometimes he has the urgency, write the tune, compose it, perform it at the shrine regularly for not determinable period of time. Maybe it could be a month, 2 months, 3 months. It depends on the urgency of that topic. Then he goes to the studio, records it, and it's released to the public. And he never performs it live again. You just have to get the vinyl and listen. So all that process, I witness. So when the time comes, after it's recorded, and he says, Lemi, I need a cover art for this. So it's always fait accompli, like the French will say, like transpose his idea into my own visuals, from my own perspective, from my own point of view, because I'm the observer. So between me and Fela and the audience that he has, I'm the observer. So now I'm close to Fela. I listen to the music, I illustrate the music. So I'm illustrating from that point of interest and point of responsibility to relate his story visually. The music is oral, is, you know, sensorily oral, right? So mine is visual. The eyes have to see. So it's like the television. You understand? The radio and the picture. So that's the way it is with Fela. My covers for Fela. A lot of the times I was prepared. I already knew the angle, but I didn't illustrate the cover art for Fela literally. I didn't illustrate his lyrics literally. So some of the covers did not represent the lyrics literally. I had those days, you know, there was no video. Young people or, you know, fans go and listen on the turntable before they buy. So what they do is they hold the jacket and they are looking at the caricatures and they are smiling. But sometimes the ones that know me say, Lemi, the thing where you draw for that cover, all the thing Fela they talk, you know, they for your drawing, you know, like, you know, we can't see specifically what Fela is saying in your drawing. And some of them, or some of the cover art was like that. It was totally not committed to explain the lyrics literally. But my commitment was, because I share the ideology with Fela totally, so I bring my own angle to it. So that's why my art eventually played the role of a supplement to the music. It was not just complementary. It was a supplement to the music. So it became added value for the audience. I've been in a lot of places in diaspora where people tell me, foreigners tell me, the art actually introduced them to Fela's music. That artists, I will go through the process of listening to their music over and over again. And my gestation period is not determinable. So if a client needs a cover art from me, it's difficult. I have to have a length of time to first go through gestation, because I have to connect spiritually. In some instances, I would love to go to the studio to meet those musicians or hang out with them to feel their vibe and energy, relating it vis-a-vis to their content. So that's the way I worked. I remember Antibalas in New York. They play Afrobeat, Antibalas, in 2001. They contacted me via email. I never got to see them. So I was in Lagos. So they contacted me. They needed a cover art. So I had to research them. I think there was sometimes like 3 weeks. They call me. How far? I said, I've not even started anything. I'm still vibing. So then I did a call with them, talked to individual members on the phone. You know, those days we didn't have, there's no WhatsApp, no, no Zoom or anything. But we spoke on the phone extensively, and I was feeling their vibes. So by the time I came out with the cover, it was bullseye. With Fela, I scored like 98% bullseye.
Yeah.
Anytime I finish my cover, most times no correction, no adjustment. The client will just say, "Oh wow!" So
yeah. We see all over West Africa, all the Sahel, the leadership are kicking out France in Burkina, Mali, and now Niger. So this is definitely indeed a historic time for Africa. So I mean, can you give us your take on this?
Yeah, you know, like I said earlier on a bit, I alluded to, these times is like a rebirth again. It's another opportunity for Africa to mentally liberate. It's another opportunity for Africa to find its own level. You understand? Yeah. Even though a lot of people are not getting it yet, if they're getting it, this migration, desperate migration that is going on, didn't need to go on. I have bated breath right now. I'm watching what's happening in West Africa, those nations. I'm watching how it will play out, especially with the recent one in Niger. But because Niger is a very small country and it's very close to Nigeria. Even 7 states in Nigeria border Niger. So Nigerians are in Nigeria. A lot of these, the people who do security work in Nigeria are from Niger. Even some of our military people, you know.
Yeah.
So it's tricky because now Babylon always have an edge. Because we are always beholden. We never had true leaders in Africa in enough numbers. So most of these leaders, they are not even leaders, they are rulers. The Nigerian election they just did, I call it selection. It's a selection they do. It's not an election, it's not the proper election, although they guise it up and say democracy. That's why fellas sang that democracy, demonstration of grace. So there's a fundamental problem. But we are always beholden to the Western powers. Africa is always, most of the countries in Africa are indebted to America, to Europe, to France. That indebtedness is part of why the reasoning is so shallow. And most of these people are just gatekeepers of colonizers. Most of people running governments in Africa, they are gatekeepers. They are just gatekeepers of colonizers. You see Nigerian selection, before this election, the 4 presidential candidates of Nigeria came to Chatham House in London. They came to tell their masters what they want to do. You understand? Yeah. So I really cannot pinpoint how things will play out, because ECOWAS, the African Union, they are all toothless bullfrog. They are not even bulldogs, bullfrogs. You get?
Yeah.
So at the end, pressure from Babylon will make them fight their brothers. We are good at fighting ourselves because of the self-hatred that has been. You know how Peter says it? Peter Tosh used to say, Africans, we have been inoculated with colonialism. Inoculation.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's tough for a conscious person to be able to relate to how these people think. You get? So they are puppets on strings. All of them are puppets. All of them. Nigeria's president, all the presidential candidate, actually need change in Africa. We need to break that yoke. But breaking that yoke is not going to be easy. We have to be way ahead mentally. After my heart in Africa now is Julius Malema.
Yeah. South Africa.
Kill the bar. Whoa, kill the farmer.
Yeah.
That is a leader. That is a born leader. If you see Julius, he's always calm. He is not over aggressive physically when he's talking. No matter how upset he is with the person who is conversing, he always states facts. That's intelligence. That's native intelligence. Native intelligence. And he's committed. And that man is ready to die for his commitment to the mission to liberate South Africa, at least. I've listened to all his interviews, I watched all his movement, everything. I just respect that man. He never talked down on people. See how he filled up that stadium?
Yeah.
No politician in Nigeria can do that. Half the stadium they can't fill up because they they pay people, paid crowd. But Julius, organically, look at the kind of presence he commands. And look at the way he talks to all those bumbo-clad people, all the Babylonians. You see the way he expresses himself? He has facts at his fingertips.
Yeah.
And he knows what he's doing. That is a born leader. Yeah. If I was living in South Africa, I will join EFF. I will join Julius. I would love to work with Julius. I'm telling you. And he's just 42 years old, man. That's a new blood. That's a new generation. I wish my own country can get that.
Yeah.
Because our Nigerian youth, they are too
brainwashed.
Plastic. Yeah. They want to be holier than the Pope. They want to be Western than the Westerners.
Yeah.
That's the problem I have with my people in Nigeria. We're always trying to be, want to go to America, I want to go to England. We do it like life and death, as if you don't travel to go and slave in UK or America or Canada, your life is not complete. You understand? Yeah, so that's it. You heard about the Alabama incident.
Yeah.
I say, yeah. It's about time. Not the turn the other cheek, bumbo-clad nonsense that they teach in church. They say turn the other cheek. Babylon, don't forgive or forget. You tread on Babylon. Babylon will pay you back in kind. It's only our people we turn the other cheek. Turn the other cheek. We become docile and senile at the same time. Politics, that is major. If Nigeria you can achieve what they achieve in tech, in politics, Nigeria will change. Nigeria will move forward. But sometimes a wave comes. It seems like the real thing. You get? But people like me knew it wasn't the real thing. But it's tough. It was tough times for me because, like I told you, my demography of friends are young people. So a lot of them were rooting for the obedient movement. One particularly that was so close to me, like it's we are highly connected spiritually. And she's a young lady. She one day, she attacked me in quotes. Why I'm not voting, like Peter Obi and all that. And I said to her, did Peter Obi go to Chatham House with the others? She said yes. I said, cancelled. All these people, they are all gatekeepers. You understand? None of them is different in my own eyes, from my own experience. They are all gatekeepers because they can't hold a candle to the West in any form. They are not ideologized that way. If Yele Sowore can calm down, build up a movement, and challenge these people, you understand? It will be more effective. But if you're fighting like an individual, a couple of you, Babylon is not soft. Remember Fidel Castro?
Yeah.
Cuba is just 90 miles to America, but America could not do nothing. America could not bomb Cuba all the years. And Fidel Castro lived to be old, ripe age. You get it? That is organization. So it's not, we can't be in a hurry. So we need to build up. I've not seen anybody in Nigeria. Me, I'm simple. I'm straightforward. I'm highly principled. I'm not arrogant at all. I'm very humble, easy. If I see someone, I will know.
And how much does this situation in West Africa have to do with America and France attempting to recolonize the African continent, especially since America has AFRICOM
command bases.
Yeah.
Now in those countries, including drone base in Niger and many bases.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, they're getting us cornered again because our people, our rulers, you know, are not committed. They don't have the interest of Africa at heart. They are brainwashed people. That's the problem now. The average Nigerian who is brilliant, when they finish university, they go and sell properties, their family find money. I'm going to do masters. My salary toothpick in technology, we can't do. China produces everything for us. Toothpick. And thousands, hundreds of thousands of graduates from Nigerian universities, thousands of them are in all over the world doing masters, and they don't even come back home. They cannot see. You get it? How can they fool us the same way for 400 years? What is wrong with us? And everybody just goes around like nothing is. I don't want to be mentioning those bumbleclat names, all those designers. They spend all their money. You understand? And how will our economy grow? People who make huge money in Nigeria, they spend it abroad. Then they are waiting for maybe Jesus Christ. We should know better by now. So the more book people read, the more those so-called education. You know that education is miseducation. It was set up for it was education for servitude, to make good slaves. And Babylon succeed very well. They made good slaves of us. So the more people get into that shit stem, the more they lose their soul. So that's why Nigeria is the way it is. Because if all the intelligent people in Nigeria, so-called, who are very intelligent, they run away and be living in London, be living in America, be living, you understand? It's the Lebanese, the British, the American, all of them, they come and invest in Africa. So they run our economy for us, slave wages, and they treat them like animals in Nigeria, and Nigerian government cannot do anything about it. Then you talked about diaspora. What about our cousins, our uncle, cousins and brothers and sisters in America, in Caribbeans, everywhere? Why are we self-loathing? Why are we self-hating ourselves? Because Babylon told us lies. You know, the Africans in America don't like the Africans at home. They say the Africans at home, you know, sold them to slavery. Yeah. Which is a lie. It was a condition of slavery. It was people were, you know, it's like prisoner of war scenario. Yeah. So when you are conquered, can you say no to your conqueror? If they say bring your children, even in Nigeria, you know about Boko Haram and so on. Yeah. Imagine if Boko Haram come to somebody's house and they take your wife, and so imagine how wicked it will be for you to blame that person and say you gave us to Boko Haram. No, it's something beyond their power. The moment the white people made the gun, the Maxim gun, that was why they were able to conquer Africa so easily. They created the gun to shoot. Even gunpowder was gotten from China. And you know the history of these people. Everywhere the white man has been, they destroy. One of the things I discussed with Peter Tosh in 1982, I said, Peter, when do you think Africa will be free? He looked at me and said, yo, not a microbe of a second, more or less, until Jah prescribed. He said, because our people worship foreign gods. He said, the Father is not happy. That's what Peter said. How can you worship other people's gods and make progress? How can? Because religion is based on culture too, and it's linked to spiritual. So when your spirituality is taken from you, you are an empty shell of a human, empty shell. And you see how Africans behave everywhere. So our brothers and sisters, the cousins in America, they make so much money. What do they spend it for? They're buying sneakers. They're buying fancy cars. They don't want to come to Africa. They hate Africans. You understand? See that mentality. Then the Chinese will come, Indians will come and take over. All those artists or football, what they call the sportsmen in America that make all those millions. Imagine if they are wise and start coming to Africa, invest, build up big factories and so on. God, when those 6 white people started beating up on him, watching who saw what happened, they just jumped in to support, you know, their brother. That is the way to go. We need to focus like that as a group. If we don't do that, we can't get out of this situation we're in. So that's the thing. There was no gun in Alabama, right?
Yeah.
Fist to fist, master man. You see, my African brothers dealt with them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine if Africa can wake up consciously like that, all over, and everybody just say, France, go away. America, go away. Britain, go away. Babylon, go. You understand? Wisdom is a pointer. You get? Yeah. So every human needs a degree of direction or advice in one situation or the other. So, and it's not only art. Every profession. You know what life is about? Each individual is equipped with a tool before we come to earth. It's the miseducation and the rubbish that they put into a baby, you know, from childhood. The parents are ignorant, they pass ignorance to the baby. So, and if you don't self-discover, the injunction is know thyself. First and foremost, know thyself. Know who you are. It's simple, but it's the most difficult thing for a lot of people because they listen to the rabble, the noise around. They are following what parents tell them, you know, hook, line, and sinker. They are following their peers, society, the government. You understand? So they get lost. So a lot of people become perambulators. Like Yoruba people will say, Asiniwaye, that's destiny helpers. So you found your destiny, you are building it, they'll just be helping you to build your destiny. The churches and the mosque are filled with those people. Most importantly, any human being, know thyself. So when you find yourself, you'll be able to listen to the still small voice within. There is always a voice of guidance within that will guide you and remind you. It's called racial memory that you bring along because there's reincarnation. This is not the first time. It may not be the last time. My dad wanted me to be a mechanical engineer, but I kept drawing. Art was eating me up. And I didn't let the fear of my dad's invocation, you know, suppress my own inner motivation. You get? So eventually I made a name in art immediately. At 18, I became a star in my field. At 18. You understand? So then the family, I changed my family's name because I decolonized my names. How can a Nigerian, how can an African be bearing Emmanuel? They said it's the name of Jesus. God be with us. Am I from Israel? What's my business? Does Israeli people bear Abiodun? Do Israeli people bear Yoruba name or Igbo name? You understand? We just follow stupidity. So if you know yourself, you will find your gift. No one is inferior or superior. That's a mistake people make. You know, in this world, there is classification, which is fantasy. Everybody has a role to play. You remember when they quote Shakespeare, where he said the world is a stage, right? So we're all playing, we're acting a play, we're acting out.
It's a journey.
Yeah, it's a journey. So your role is not superior to mine. Mine is not inferior to yours. You understand?
Yeah.
You may be a superstar, fill the stadium up. That's your role. I may be an artisan. You understand? And I do my work well. That's my role. So before the universe, we are equal. We are the same. So if you find your calling, start to work on it. No food for lazy man. And there is no miracle. It's church that lie to people that there is miracle. So when you find your calling, you start to harness your skill. You harness it vigorously. An athlete will be, you know, go and do their exercise. Footballers, and people worship footballers, but they don't know all the hard work they put into it when they are practicing. It's not a joke. So anything you find to do, you have to do it like your favorite footballer or your favorite superstar. You see, look at Burna Boy. You know how many hours of practice, rigorous practice and dedication to that. So everybody, when you find your gift, you have to be dedicated to it. So that way you create a brand, then you can monetize. You see, it's a process. But a lot of young people today, they are thinking of money right now. Money. How much do I make? Because they are reading about some mega stars that is making $1 million for gifts. Harness your skill. Work hard at it. And you can work smart these days. Yeah? Our days, work hard. These days, work smart. So combine both. Then you create your brand. Then you monetize. And you can live happily ever after, like Lemi. Like Lemi. Me, I have a sense of fulfillment. I'm contented. So I'm not chasing. There is no competition in destiny. Of course. That's the way. Just keep going. It will build up.
Because me, I'm taking like the music serious, the music side, and then the podcast side. So that's like my calling, I would say.
Support my brother. Please support Freddie. He's doing a great job. And he's just 17 years old, everybody. So respect. You found your mission already. So stay on course.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Right, one love.
And to all of you, thank you very much for tuning in. And have a blessed day. Have a blessed day. Thank you very much, Lemi.
Respect.